Hola a todos, hi everyone, yo soy Carla Rodríguez, tu presentadora y coach de la vida y empoderamiento. I am your podcast host and life and empowerment coach. Bienvenidos and welcome to Metafit Metamind Podcast, el lugar donde normalizamos conversaciones sobre la salud física y mental, the place where we normalize the conversation about both physical and mental health. This is the space where you can raise your voice and share your story. Este es tu espacio donde podrás alzar tu voz y compartir tu historia. It has been about 2 weeks since my surgery bandages came off, and the moment they did actually come off, I felt so good. I have been able to write content for all of you. I've been able to write emails for work and even for getting more people on the podcast, and just to be honest, just feel so much better, so much more positive. I'm telling you, I was already starting to get into that darker mentality and that ugly victim mentality that I could not get things done. I couldn't even wash my dishes. I couldn't shower properly, to be honest, with all those bandages, because the doctor and the surgeon told me that I couldn't get them wet. So I had to be super careful with that. So they actually came off at a good time. I will say though that it was also a learning experience for me to slow down even more. And one other positive thing, as you know, everything that's going on in the world right now with COVID-19, this time is that I was able to stay home anyway, since we can't go out all the time. I didn't have to ask for excused absences. I didn't have to give an explanation or anything like that. So in a way, it kind of worked out that I have been able to stay at home. And I don't want to say that the accident was at a perfect timing, but it was. And it's been a little more than a month now, so crazy how all of that has been going on. I have been consistently working out in the afternoons as well in these past 2 weeks, which is also amazing for me. Just remind me, y'all, that if you ever see any of my videos, to remind me to be humble and not exaggerate with all the work that I may or may not be doing, or just to tell me hey, Carla, you may want to watch out because we don't want you to hurt yourself any more than you should. Tell me you need to focus on the healing process and all of that so you can come back stronger. And that's my goal, to come back stronger and to heal in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So hopefully I can get that done. Because the day that this episode is coming out, which is May 1st, or today if you're listening to it on publishing date, is that here in Austin, Texas, some businesses will start opening up. And it looks like my NLP Certification Week will hopefully or most likely take place in person, which will be amazing since I do miss person-to-person communication. And don't get me wrong, I love connecting with everybody on Zoom and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere I've connected with you. I love it. I've been able to connect with people from all over the world, which is great. I have more time for that. We do have our private Facebook group, Metafit Metamind, the mindset group, where I am working on creating better content and things that we can all learn from each other. And I know I've said that I want to create videos and things like that, but I still get a little bit nervous, so I'm working on that. As a life and empowerment coach, I want to help you let go of limiting beliefs in order to get you to a place where you can continue to turn the page in your life, to grow personally and professionally. And at the moment, I am looking for you, Latina woman, who is in that place where you know something needs to be done, where you know you are ready to move forward, right? Who's in that place where you just don't know what it is, but you know it's there. So if you are interested in a 30-minute journey opener call or a discovery call, please email me at carla@metafitmetamind.com or go to the website and fill the contact page. Don't forget that I am a self-sustained podcaster doing everything from the recording, emailing, editing, producing. Consider going to the shop page on my website, metafitmetamind.com/shop, if you wanted to get a little coffee cup, a little accessory, or if you wanted to gift it to somebody else to support the show. Another way is to remember that you can share the podcast with people you think would like it. Please rate it, please subscribe to it so you don't miss the updated episodes. And remember that I am on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, or Castbox, or any other platform that you listen to. So please and thank you. I am super grateful that you're listening and that you're sharing it and that you're just supporting the show by listening to this episode. In this episode, I was able to speak with Laura Baumann, who is or was a ballet dancer who turned herself into a yoga instructor, and she is someone who coaches mompreneurs as well. After finding out what her body truly needed, she has learned so much about movement and listening to your body and trusting your body. And she is somebody, as I said, who coaches other mompreneurs who are in that burnout point in their lives with yoga, with meditation, and mindset work in order for them to get out of that burnout rut. She is inspiring in the way that she has such a positive mindset and is also a BA and knows hard work from her ballet background. So please listen to her journey and enjoy. So today I have Laura Baumann on Metafit Metamind podcast. I really wanted to thank you for accepting my invitation to be my guest and to be open to sharing your story and who you are. So again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And thank you also. It's so funny because I'm I'm actually Dutch Mexican, but I am in the US. But I always introduce myself as Laura because that's my name.
Uh-huh.
That's how we pronounce it in Dutch as well. But here
Oh,
everybody's like, "Oh, hey, Laura."
that's funny.
It's so funny. I always have to remember, like, oh yeah, people don't say Laura or Laura here. They call me Laura. So
I think for a while I had to remember like people, my name is Carla as well, you know? So, but most people are like Carla, Carla, you know, like, oh, okay. So
yeah,
for a while, it even got stuck with me to say, what's your name? Even in Spanish, I was saying Carla, and I was like, wait, no, no, it's Carla.
yeah.
So thank you so much, Laura. And I wanted to start with you kind of already gave a little snippet. Who is Laura?
hmm Well, so I was born in the Netherlands, and my
That's
father.
awesome.
Thanks. It's a tiny country.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, my father is Dutch, and he met my mother in Mexico. She's Mexican, and they got married, and they decided to stay in Holland. My father's a guitar player, he's a guitar teacher, so that's what brought him to Mexico. And I think he wanted to stay in Mexico, but she was like, "Let's go to Holland. Good schools. We want to have a family." So me and my brother were born there, and yeah, at that time it was, it's still a small town, uh, very local Dutch people, and we're kind of, the outsiders. Mexico is like a faraway land, and so yeah, so when I was little, I started dancing and became very serious with it. I really wanted to become a professional ballet dancer, and my parents supported that, especially also my father. He's very creative, and he loves
Yeah.
creative, all kinds of creative expressions.
I mean, he's a musician, right?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, they were very supportive, and I went to a semi-professional dance school to pursue that, and it was very, very intense. I learned a lot. I'm forever grateful I had that experience. It really laid some serious foundation for me for a lot of things. But I discovered yoga there. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and eating disorders and usual teenage stuff. And then when I started college, I studied theater and education,
Hmm.
and I was still dealing with a lot of anxiety and my eating disorders. And yeah, so I yoga was the one thing that always helped me to
Yeah.
find calm and peace, to move still, to kind of control things, that I couldn't control. Life was just really crazy sometimes, and so that helped me. And I was in this international theater school, and I met a really good friend there,
Hmm.
and I ended up marrying her brother.
Wow.
They're from Cuban descent. They were
Mhm.
born in Miami, but they lived in California for a while.
Cool.
So I visited them during a summer vacation, and while I was visiting my family in Mexico. And so yeah, that's where I met David, and we had a long distance relationship for a while. And we got married. I moved to California, and eventually we moved back to Europe. And that's also where I started teaching yoga.
Mm.
And throughout this whole process. Yoga was always, like my morning routine, and I've fallen out of the routine for a little bit, but I could tell like I need to get back to my yoga, and so yeah, when I started teaching it, it really I started to it started to become more clear, like this is really what I like to do, because
Mm-hmm.
the effect it had on people, all kinds of positive effects.
Yeah.
Um, my students had better sleep or less stress, and or just feeling more flexible or stronger in their body. So it was really yeah, like this is what I want to do. But uh I didn't do it full time yet. I was just teaching part time, and then our daughter was born, and I continued to teach for a little bit, but then we moved to Florida. There's been a lot of transitions in my life,
Yeah.
and so I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was really happy with that. It was really I feel very blessed. I had the time with my daughter, and yeah, that we made some sacrifices, and sometimes it was hard, and uh, but yeah, I feel very blessed that I did have the time with her, and I was really yeah able to be the mother and enjoyed it. And then at some point I felt like, and it also started to happen again where people would find out that I was a yoga teacher, and they're like, oh cool, can you teach a class? Or
Yeah.
so I started teaching again voluntarily. And but I also wanted to find a way, because for me family and my values are very important. And um I started to struggle with the idea, like, okay, I want to be there for my family, especially my daughter, whenever she needs me. She's my number one. So
Mm-hmm.
how do I combine that? If I have a full-time job or if I go back to work, how do I find a way to make that work? And um, then I started teaching online, yoga online. I started my YouTube channel, and it's still very much in the beginning phases, but it's getting some good response.
I mean, you
And
have it. I mean, you started it, and especially now, I think it's something great to have already. That you already
yeah,
have that
yeah,
baseline started.
right. Yeah, and especially now, I almost don't want to say, the coronavirus, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everything is happening online, and it was only a year ago where I was like, online would be the best place for me, because I'm in the patient looking in the patient location independent,
Uh-huh.
and I can create my own schedule, and
Yeah.
so I can work around my, when my daughter's in school, I can work, but then I can also be there when she's done with school. So yeah, that's pretty much my story right now.
Yeah. And so I want to go back to, you were in ballet at a young age, and you said your dad was all for it because he's also very creative. Did you feel like pressure as well from him or your mom because he is a creative and he wants you to do your best, and when it comes to fine arts, like, you're always very hard on yourself. Like each performer is very hard on themselves, right? I did dance and I did music as well. So I understand like that perfectionism and everything like that. So how is it that you were dealing with that as a young um semi-professional ballet dancer?
That's a really good point. Um I didn't feel the pressure from my parents. They're very supportive whatever I chose, whatever I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure came more from myself. I felt like I committed to this, and I can't fail. I gotta stick with this. There's no way out. And maybe um when my anxiety, when it was so bad, um maybe that should have been the point where I should have said, okay, this is not healthy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, that feeling of like I failed, like I need to just stick with it, and that athletic or military type of mentality, and just, like, no pain, okay.
Yeah.
um I had to push through, and yeah, it was rough, but in the end, I feel like actually that made me stronger. So that's a good lesson that I learned.
Yeah.
I also learned later on, like, um, you hear a lot of people who have like a corporate career, or the very typical 9 to 5 job, and then they have this creative passion, and they go for that, and their whole life changes. And I actually felt like, what does that mean, following your heart? It doesn't always mean like that you want to be, like you said, like a musician in music,
Hmm.
or fine arts, or a dancer, um, because maybe that's just not necessarily for you.
Hmm.
It really depends on the person. Um, and I also felt that a little bit when I was a stay-at-home mom. Like, why do we even call that stay-at-home mom? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a mom.
Yeah. I
And
just stay at home.
um, kind of like a pressure, like, well, that's not enough. You should be doing more,
Hmm.
And I'm not dismissing or anything creative. If that's if that's what's in your heart, then I'm absolutely all for it. Go for it. But I
Yeah.
think more like whatever it is that's in your heart, whatever it is that you want to do. If it is being a full-time mom, I support that. If you don't want to, and you have the circumstances and the lifestyle and the tools and everything to make that work for you, then I think that's wonderful.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's a good point you brought up.
Yeah. And then just curious, how I know you say you found yoga and started teaching yoga over time. How was it that you did find yoga? Was it through a dance instructor, someone in dance that you learned from about it, or did you just happen to walk by like a store or like a yoga studio and you're like, huh, yoga, like this could be something interesting that helps me release my anxiety and anything that's going on with me.
Well, actually, at the time, a long time ago, in the 90s, there was not a whole lot of yoga, and the only yoga was in Wally, where I was, not in studios. It was more like in the gym and the fitness
Mm.
center. And in my dance school, we would also have like guest teachers or guest classes. We would, learn things with certain warm up videos. We had Pilates and yoga.
Mhm.
So there I learned some. My grandmother gave me this tiny book, like this little book of yoga. I don't even remember, but it had all these nice little stretches, very basic,
Mm.
fun,
Mhm.
easy yoga poses, and some breathing exercises, and very simply explained that I would do. And then when I started college, I was, um, as I was overcoming my whole eating disorder, I was like a total uh, gym addict. I would, like run every day.
Wow. Uh-huh.
But they had yoga classes there too, and then I would go to a yoga class, and it was just yoga. It wasn't, now you have all kinds of different styles, and yoga for goat yoga, beer yoga, all kinds of yoga. But then it
Yeah.
was just yoga.
Yeah.
And it just felt really good. And yeah, so it's been all kinds of different classes. I did some workshops. I did a lot of yoga online, a lot of YouTube yoga. Yeah, online courses that I signed up for. So different channels, also books, a lot of books,
Mhm.
and and also because I guess I have that dance background, I had to learn to move my body more naturally instead of ballet is very unnatural. Natural, actually, it's
Very rigid.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this external rotation in the hips. It's really not that
Yeah.
healthy. So yeah, I had to kind of experiment on my yoga mat with moving more naturally instead of going for that beautiful looking back bend or something.
Yeah.
Not forcing myself into that pose, but really more like nurturing my own body and listening to my breath and not pushing myself and hurting myself.
Mhm.
So different channels. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you say nurturing your body, um, while learning yoga and all these stretches and movement, and you're someone who moves, not only like you move a lot countries and places, but you're a dancer, so of course you're like moved by movement. Do you think that once you started nurturing your body, that's also what assisted you in overcoming your eating disorder because you started to be more aware of what your body needs at the time? Or
Yeah.
and also, did you have like a mentor or somebody guiding you through this time that you were going through this?
No, I had some professional help. Um, I did see a psychiatrist, and we had just one meeting, and he made an assessment, and he said, okay, you're in college, you have a social network. Um, you have two options. You can either go into a treatment program that's very intense, or try it on your own. And he said, like, I think you'll do okay on your own.
Okay.
He gave me kind of a boost to just talk to my friends, and yeah, and then I got really sick. I don't know, I had some a bad cold or stomach bug or something, fever, and that's where I was like, okay, I need to rest and I need to eat healthy. And
Yeah.
that I started to slowly feel like, okay, it's not just about counting calories and burning fat. I need to nurture myself. I need to rest when I need to rest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to always push myself. Moving and exercising is great, but you need to have balance. And it was ups and downs. It wasn't like, I was sick,
Yeah.
I was healed, and I was better. It took a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really have a mentor, but I would say like my friends, now my husband, they've all been supportive, one way or the other.
Yeah. No, that's actually really good. I mean, you knew that was kind of a beginning turning point that helped you say, okay, like something needs to change. And of course, our journey or our health journeys and our learning about ourselves isn't like de un día para el otro from one day to another, it's like, okay, here we go. And then there's those times where we say, I don't want to do it anymore. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have to get back to it. So yeah, that's actually really cool that you were able to have your network and your friends that also helped you, whether they knew it or not. I think that's really cool. Sometimes that's what we need. We need community to keep going and moving forward, and for us to say, oh, like these people care about me, I should probably care about myself um as well.
Yeah. And also, what you say, community, connection, and knowing that you're not alone, because I had these beautiful conversations and a lot of tears, and but they would also reveal things about themselves that they felt insecure about it, that they
Mhm.
were, struggling with, and yeah, so you kind of get on a deeper level in your friendship or in your relationships, and it's very healing. It's very, yeah, I think really important, and and I don't want to say like yoga heals eating disorders. I'm not a professional.
Mhm.
I'm not a professional therapist, and every case is very individual. So I do believe that when you need professional help, you should seek it, and
Mhm.
there are people specialized and that can help you with that. So there's not one way to
Yeah.
heal, you know.
Mhm. And it's really cool to learn about each person's method or journey or way that they healed because you say, "Oh, okay, like I didn't do it that way, but it's cool that we had something similar, but we had such different ways of overcoming whatever this thing was." So
Mhm.
that's really nice to know and to but again, community is something very important that I think helps a lot of us out. At least for me, when I work out and I'm in like these community workouts, it's more fun. At the same time, you're like, okay, we're getting through it together, whatever this thing is at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then once I know you got married to your friend's brother, and then you moved and then you had your baby girl, were you teaching at the same time while you were pregnant? What were you doing during this time? I know I would say, like, if you're doing something, keep doing it.
Hmm.
As long as you know it's safe and you know your body. Like, were you still moving and teaching and
Yes, yeah, and I think it really helped me a lot doing yoga, sticking with, well, prenatal yoga, of
mm-hmm.
course. So,
And how different is that?
uh, it was challenging because I was used to, just bending my body and doing this and that, and all of a sudden, be careful,
Yeah.
everything anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, during the first trimester, I was very sick, like not just morning sickness, but all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Just lie on the couch and just do nothing. So once I got out of that, once I got into the second and the third trimester, it was much easier. But yeah, I was teaching up to a few weeks up to birth,
Mhm,
and I really feel like it helped my stamina. It helped me breathe,
mhm,
and it helped me with all the fears that I had because
mhm,
I was very fixated on like I want to have an unmedical natural birth. I'm a yogi and all this,
mhm.
blah blah.
Yeah.
But I did come to the point where I was like, it doesn't matter what happens. If I need to have a C-section, then I'll be at peace with it because all I want is a healthy child. I want my baby to be.
Yeah.
That's all I want. And I ended up having an unmedicated natural birth, and I was very happy with that. I would have been happy either way. She's healthy and beautiful. So,
Yeah.
but the breathing that was crucial for labor. Surrendering, breathing, just be completely in the moment, not resisting. Everything that I learned in yoga,
Uh-huh.
all those years, it really all came together. And,
Yeah, like trust your body, just
yeah,
let it come when it needs to come.
yeah.
Yeah, I really love and admire people who have done yoga and or any kind of like breathing exercises and like who are an expert at it because as a doula I've seen different birth experiences and the people who have been more in movement and more aware of their body like I'm not saying necessarily have an easier birth but they're the way the just the experience is just completely different uh so I think that's really cool to know that and to anybody that if anybody's listening that's pregnant just
Hmm.
move a little even if you walk uh
Yeah,
that'll help you I think
I agree. Any movement. I also did some prenatal swimming. It was
oh
wonderful.
cool
So good just to be in the water, especially last trimester. You're big and heavy, and um, I was having a lot of low back pain
mhm
and pain in my groins. It just felt very unstable, my pelvis. And
mhm
yeah, the last couple of weeks I had a hard time walking. So swimming and being in the water was very nice. And yeah, I agree. Any type of movement is just very helpful.
yeah and that's really amazing let me not keep going because I love any conversation about babies and birth. Just
Mhm.
I can't help myself.
Well,
um, I wanted to ask you, you're 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 from the Netherlands and you're Mexican, so how has that experience been for you as far as not only health wise, life wise, but just conversations with people? Like how has that experience been in your life?
um, I mean, I think I felt pretty Dutch, I guess. I have brown hair, eyes. I don't look like a typical blonde, blue-eyed Dutch
Mm-hmm.
person. I wasn't raised bilingual, maybe the first
Oh,
2 years, but yeah, I'm sad about that in a way because right now I do raise my daughter in Dutch, actually, bilingually.
oh, that's cool.
Yes, it's pretty funny. But but I ended up learning Spanish anyway. I will never be like a native speaker, but I think it's really important. It's part of my culture, and also when I hear Spanish, I really enjoy listening to your podcast because you do it half Spanish, half English, so it's good for my Spanish.
Yeah, thank you.
But when I hear Spanish, it's something very comforting to me. It's my, my mother, yeah, when I was a baby, she would speak Spanish to me. So it has something very comforting. And yeah, at the time being partly Mexican, it was more like, oh, cool, it's kind of exotic. It's a faraway country, and
Uh,
um, and yeah, our household was more, I guess, open when we had play dates as kids. When I would visit like a Dutch friend, it was more like, okay, 5 o'clock, you go home because we're gonna have dinner. And for my mom or for my parents, it was more like, oh, you want to come and eat with us, have dinner with us. It was more like that. So just a few little differences, I guess.
mhm. So you had both experiences, which is really awesome. It's really really cool to be teaching your daughter Dutch right now.
Yeah, pretty funny. It's like, especially now here in the U.S., it's like we have our secret language. It's
Yeah.
like
Does
kids.
da-
Sorry.
does dad understand?
He actually had classes. He speaks a little Dutch too, and so yeah, he's it's not bad, it's fun. She thinks
Yeah,
it's funny when he speaks Dutch.
that's funny. What is your opinion and your take on the balance? And I know you have a very good knowledge on this between mental and physical health, and how do you apply that in your life, in your daughter's life, in your family?
I think it's the foundation for everything, if for example, my anxiety, it's always this feeling in my stomach. My stomach is upset, and so anything that's going on in my mind, it will manifest somehow in my body. And I love meditation, but I struggled with it because I cannot sit still and observe my thoughts or quiet my thoughts. When I sit still, my thoughts are all over the place.
Yeah, you're a dancer.
Right? For me, yeah, exactly. Like moving around helps me to quiet my mind, and helps my stomach to settle, and helps me ease my anxiety. And it's like an everyday thing. Every morning I take care of my mental and physical health. I have my yoga routine. I have my a short meditation and mindset routine, and it just goes hand in hand. Yeah, it's in daily life as well. When I get overwhelmed or trying to balance it all, it's like, okay, I gotta stop and breathe right now.
Mhm.
My daughter's having a tantrum, and I just need to breathe.
Yeah.
It's still work in progress, but yeah. So for me, mental and physical health, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's very important to remember that because this is a very important question to me because it wasn't something that was talked about in my family, and like at all. I don't know if I want to say enough. So, I like to know what other people's experiences have been and those conversations and just to normalize them, to make people aware like, hey, we can have this conversation. It's okay. Like,
Mhm.
did you want to talk about physical health? Cool, let's talk about it. You want to talk about mental health or something that's going on? Great, let's talk about it. And it's something that I'm really grateful to you for answering that question and having such a also great perspective on what it is, because even for me also, like, I also feel it manifest in my body. If I'm not having like something mentally is not going okay, then something's gonna definitely, my body's gonna feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to remember to, like you said, for people to breathe, take a second and breathe as well.
And I think also, I think it's great that you brought this up because it's still now it's a lot more common to talk about anxiety, depression, eating disorders. But you know, not too long ago, it's still kind of, uh, yeah, kind of like a sensitive subject. Like not everybody wants to talk about this. I'm okay. For the outside world, I have to look okay. Everything is okay. And but there is a lot of anxiety, and luckily, uh, because of the internet and social media, you can find on YouTube all kinds of things about anxiety, or and that's a good thing. It opens the doors for many people who are afraid to talk about, because even for me right now, like talking about my eating disorder is still a little bit like, hmm, should I? With certain people I trust, I want to talk about it, but it's still, it still feels a little bit like judged, or uh, yeah, something you don't talk about really. So
Mhm.
I think we're well on the way talking about our mental health and physical health, and it needs a lot more light.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing about your eating disorder, because not every, like you said, it's not a daily conversation, of course, but it's good to have it when it needs to be had.
Yeah,
So I really appreciate you sharing that with me and anybody who's going to listen to this episode as well.
yeah, for sure. No, if it can help anybody, and I, I know that deep, dark state that you can be in, when you're in the midst of it, and your mind can just feel like a prison, and you're all consumed by just like being thin, or trying to fit in, and trying to control your weight. It's just very, for me, very dark, lonely place. But it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be.
Yeah. I did want to ask more about what you're doing now and what you're planning, obviously during this little phase that the whole world is going through, but also once this is all over, what are you doing for Laura? What's Laura doing?
So I'm supporting mothers and entrepreneurs. So yeah, I call them mompreneurs to keep it
Uh-huh.
keep it simple, overcome stress and burnout. They have a lot on their plate.
Hmm.
Being a mom is beautiful, but it can be also very challenging, and trying to balance it all. I think self-care is really, really important. And so I started a group, and I'm working on an online course to create a self-care routine for all these mompreneurs that
Hmm.
works for them. So it's very personalized, because I have things that work really well for me, but it might not work for somebody else. But it all starts with awareness of your mental state, awareness of your body, how your body's doing, and yoga, meditation, and mindset work are all really good tools to cultivate that self-awareness, and know where your limits are, and know when to say no, and have uh, a daily routine, a daily ritual, something in the morning, just even if it's just a couple of minutes just for yourself, where you align with your values, your goals, and everything that's important, your intentions. And yeah, so that these mompreneurs are successful in their work, and if that's where their heart is, I wanted to shine in that, and at the same time be a good mom, feel good about it all. That's what I'm really, really passionate about and working on right now.
Oh, cool. And are you gonna, I don't know, curious here. Are you gonna be applying like meditation, yoga, breathing into your program? Or how are you gonna be? Is that gonna be something extra? How are you gonna? Is that gonna be? I don't want to maybe give everything away, but is that maybe part of the plan?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a lot of different, yoga stretches, tools, breathing exercises, meditation, um, mindset work with affirmations. So a lot of different things, but also tools like time management. And yeah, so my Facebook group is called Self Care Secrets for Mompreneurs,
Oh,
and that's
cool.
what I'll be doing. I'll be sharing all my secrets, and yeah.
Oh, and I'll be sharing those links in the show notes. So anybody that is a mompreneur or wants to learn more, or maybe just became a mom but is an entrepreneur, like they can all
Mhm.
go to your page and you can all go and check her page out. I had a quick question as well about what do you think about being a little selfish as a mom sometimes, and like being okay with it.
I love it. You know, I just wrote this article on self-care, and I think it's come a little bit, like, I don't know how you say it, like capitalized, or, like you got to get your nails done, like that's self-care, or
Hmm.
get a massage, and,
Uh-huh.
it's wonderful, it's wonderful if you like that. But self-care can be as simple as getting your 8 hours of sleep. To me, that's my non-negotiable. I need to get my sleep.
Yeah.
And because if I'm not healthy, I cannot take care of other people. I need to
Yeah.
fill my own cup. I need to be healthy and well, and then I can give. Because if I feel crappy, I'm gonna snap. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be moody. I'm not gonna feel good, and nobody is gonna benefit from me if I don't take good care of myself.
Yeah, so you need to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of your daughter and your husband and everybody else
Yeah,
that needs you.
exactly. And I'm very passionate about self-care for moms, because we tend to put everybody first,
Hmm.
and but we also need a lot of good care as well. We need to be healthy and strong
Yeah,
and happy.
definitely. And I love that you're answering my questions, and that whoever listens to this, I feel like they're gonna learn so much from you, just this little snippet, because it's like little reminders, and also for moms especially who forget about themselves. Like, don't forget about yourself. It's okay. And
Yeah.
I'm a stepmom, but I still feel like I there's times where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna take care of myself first, and then I'm gonna deal with you, little dude.
Totally. And you love them,
Yeah.
whether they're stepchildren or your real children, you love them, and they know that you're there for them when they need you. So
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, what is one thing that you would like my listeners and whoever listens to this episode, that like something that you live by on a daily basis that you would like somebody else to remember?
um to oh gosh, that's a good question. Um at the moment I'm so inspired with so many things. I'm kind of scattered. But right now, the one thing is to have your morning ritual, your little self-care routine in the morning. Because in Dutch we have an expression that mornings are golden, and it really does set the tone of your day. So if whether it's 1 minute, but take some time in the morning to feel some gratitude for what you have. Take one thing you're very grateful for, um, and then what is your goal for the day, and then visualize that you achieve that goal. It should be an attainable goal,
Hmm.
that you achieve that goal and feel that success. Feel that good feeling, that celebratory feeling, that you achieve that goal for the day. And stretch yourself out, yawn, sigh, nice deep breath, and you're ready to go. It's morning rituals to me are everything,
Morning rituals and mornings are golden.
and mornings are golden. Yeah.
Great. That's good. That's good. People tend to forget that. Even I forget that sometimes. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and whether you're a mompreneur, or I think it's for everybody.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And where, I mean, I know you already shared your group page, but where else can we find you on Instagram or Facebook or maybe your website?
Yes, everything. So Instagram is Laura Baumann underscore yoga.
Okay.
And on Facebook, it's Laura Baumann Yoga. My website is www.laurabaumanyoga.com. So my name, let me actually spell it, because it's so Laura, and my last name Baumann. So two N.
So laurabowmanyoga.com.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll be sharing all the links in the show notes. Again, I wanted to thank you so much for being my guest today and having this conversation, these conversations.
about who you are, sharing your story, sharing your experiences. I really am grateful for being open to sharing with the rest of us as well, who probably this will resonate with some of us, and some people it may not, but that's just how it goes. And I hope that everything you're doing uh become super successful. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be reaching out to you and saying like, hey, how's your program, has it started? And if it has started, let me know so I can share with all of us here listening as well, like, hey, she has started this as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you for giving me this opportunity and asking your wonderful questions. Yeah, we got really deep and I'm very grateful that you are shining the light on these subjects as well. And I think it's a wonderful way to reach more people who are dealing with certain things and knowing that they're not alone. So thank you for shining the light and creating the community as well.
Thank you.
What an enjoyable episode and recording and conversation I was able to have with Laura, who has so much knowledge about movement, about ballet, about yoga, about hard work as a creator and dancer, right? She's someone who I was able to nerd out about pregnancy and birth, and like I said, listening to your body, to your breathing, and how to get out of that burnout rut as a mompreneur, and how there's so many ways that we can get out of that, right? Here's a few things that I did get from her, and I hope that you did get a few things. And if this resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, but you know somebody that this would resonate with, please share it. 1. Mornings are golden, according to Laura. You should start your day as a positive day, stress-free, as much as possible. So how would you accomplish this? Maybe start by stretching in the mornings, maybe do some yoga with Laura, or have a delicious healthy breakfast. I don't know, anything that you think would be positive for you. Remember, the way we start our day can set the tone for the rest of the day. Here's another one. Listen to your body and what it needs. I don't mean give it all the treats and goodies, all the chips, all the candy that are, unhealthy to our body all the time. Once every so often, I personally think it's okay. Trust me, I get cravings here and there, and I take care of myself, of my mindset in this way. But I also have learned that control has made that mindset a lot stronger than I thought possible. And finally, as I always say, we are not alone in anything. Even when it feels like it, there will be someone to give you a listening ear, or a shoulder to cry on, or even someone who jokes to make you feel so much better, to just lighten up your day, right? Listen, I have been creating so much connection with so many of you, and I love it. I love being able to smile. I love being able to listen to all your stories, and I also love being able to share with you things that are going on with me. I love having this platform for you to listen to these stories, to inspire you, so you can know that you can also take action, because if I can do it, you can do it too. We are a community of people that can just push each other and cheer each other on to grow as individuals. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode, to be honest. If you haven't shared this podcast yet, please share it. It'll help me pop up in different podcast platforms for people that probably need to listen to any one of the stories others have shared. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So rate, review, and subscribe, and that'll help me out a lot to pop up more, and so more people can listen to your stories and to my stories. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram on Metafit Metamind Podcast, on Facebook, or on my website on metafitmetamind.com. I also have our private Facebook group, Metafit Metamind, the Mindset Group, so we can just converse with each other. If you do want to support me in a different manner, as I shared in the beginning of this episode, please go to my website on metafitmetamind.com/shop, and you can buy coffee cups, teacups, and a couple other accessories that you may be able to enjoy while you listen to this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode up to this point. I am Carla Rodriguez. This is Metafit Metamind Podcast, where we're normalizing the conversations that we would have never had. Until next time.